Welcome to the Brand Clarity Podcast, hosted by Visions to Images and Susie Liberatore. The Brand Clarity Podcast highlights several different topics, including entrepreneurship, franchises, and digital marketing trends. Visions to Images helps corporations and franchises with their branding, website, paid advertising, and digital marketing. Hello, everybody. Today I have on the podcast Daniel Feldman of the Garage 4 Company. He is amazing. I've loved watching him grow his brand and really diving in onto social media. He's a Zor, so he's really excited to kind of come on and share some tips and tricks and just have some conversations. So welcome.
Thanks, Susie. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So can you give us a little bit of background first and foremost, how you got into this industry and field?
Yeah, it's kind of a roller coaster, but yeah, let's dive into it. So I have a background. I went to Indiana State and got a business degree. Didn't know really where I wanted to end up, and came out of the field becoming a state trooper for Indiana.
Oh, wow.
I sat there for about 13 years, but while I was there, I always knew I had a passion for business. And I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go with that. So I had a few different companies in my day, tried to, do a landscape business. And then I tried flipping houses and just doing remodels and things like that. And didn't really find my niche in any of those. So, I want to be in business. What can I do? So I looked into franchising. My dad had always told me, if you get into a franchise, they're successful. They want you to succeed. It's a proven model. You don't have to start your own thing. Want you start there. So I sort of started doing some research, and I found a company that interested me, and it was about garage flooring. Mm-hmm. So I dove in and kind of asked this other company, went through the whole process, dove deep, and almost got ready to sign, but then started doing due diligence and decided, well, I'm going to call the people that left that franchise and ask them why.
Oh, okay.
And one of those people is actually my current business partner.
Yeah.
And he gave me the advice to not do it. And we kind of hit it off, and we decided, hey, let's form our own franchise to, better the industry and help other people out versus this particular franchise that just really was more out for the money. Mm-hmm. It wasn't out for the support for the franchisee. So he and I kind of hit it off, and we made a pact and decided, let's start my own location in Indiana and see where it goes. And if it's feasible, we'll start franchising. Mm-hmm. So while I was a state trooper, I, started doing floors part-time, and we built it up to the point where I was like, okay, I think I can leave and take early retirement from the state police and start my own location and go full-time. And so I did, and then we started franchising as well, and we came legal technically back in 2020 to start franchising, and it was a slow growth model, and we just kind of focused on our locals and stuff like that, and trying to build our brand and figure things out so we had everything in place when we do bring on franchisees. Then fast forward to 2023, we signed our first franchisee in Nashville, Tennessee. And we got him up and running, and he's been up and running for almost a year now.
Yay.
And we're just kind of going from there and seeing where it takes us.
Yeah. And I think having all of the stuff that you talked about in place, because obviously franchising is not cheap, and you have to be very organized and set up in order to have success for the franchisees, right? And so it's when you're we've been doing that, that's key to do, getting it all set up so that you can be successful and they can be successful. So what's your biggest obstacle when it comes to franchising?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different obstacles you have to overcome to become part of this organization. There's a lot to it. Like you said, you have to have everything in place, making sure that all your programs and processes are in line and things like that. We had actually hired a company to help us to build it from the ground up. I think as far as getting it out there, the hardest part right now is private equities in a lot of these different backyards. And so just getting the name out there for people to trust you. So they have a lot of backing. So when you bring a lot of money to the table, you can really persuade a lot more people into your organization. When you're funding it out of your own pockets, like Jeff and I do, it's a lot more difficult, which
Yes.
becomes slow growth, which becomes, do I trust this company? They only have a few people in their organization. So that's kind of like the obstacles we've tried to overcome. And it's still a struggle. But again, it's they're buying, from what I tell people, is you're buying Jeff and I. You
Right.
get the direct support from the founders, the owners, and they're still operating and they're still in the industry. So we do have a little bit of a slight advantage versus the other people. It's just, getting that recognition out there to other people.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things that, many Zors face is brand awareness, brand recognition, all of those pieces. And or do you invest your money in a private, like do you work with a private equity? Do you invest your own money? Like all of those things. And I mean, I'm going through similar stuff with my software now too. It's like, okay, what's the next steps of these things? Do I want to keep funding it myself? Do I need assistance? Right? All of those different things are so important. And when you start to build a brand and be authentic and personalized, people are going to buy and want to be a part of it. And I think that's the biggest thing that I tell people all the time is, you have to go out there, you have to show up, you have to do. I mean, I've seen your videos, you're starting to really open up, and you have to do those things in order to have people know you and trust you and like you. Like that's the biggest thing. People, especially, it's not cheap to invest in a franchise. So people want to know that they can invest and trust you. They know they want to call you, like they want that personalization and that trust factor for you so that they know, if something happens, I have that support.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, the money it is not as cheap as what people think. Like there's a lot of money that has to go into this behind the scenes to build these forms, to build everything. And to your credit, like we are working on our brand story. That is huge. Like when you go into sales for any business, the three king things that you just said was you have to know, like, and trust them. Do I know this person? Well, a lot of people, when they're watching you on YouTube, some people I haven't even met before, and they may see me and they're like, I know that guy because they watch you so much, and then they start to like you, and then they start to trust you because they see you over and over. So it's repetition going through. Right. So it's those biggest things is know, like, and trust. I think that's key for sure.
So of course, I'm going to ask you marketing questions. So what have you found to be successful from marketing?
Yeah, so we've tried almost every avenue of marketing for the franchise side of things. I mean, we've gone through FSOs, we've gone through just different types of sales of pipelines and Fran Direct and stuff like that. We're finding that's key right now is, and it's huge in the industry, is the broker network.
Yes.
Being able to form those relationships with brokers is it's key. And it's not like you can just go in and be like, hey, I'm Dan with the garage floor company, start selling for me, because they're not going to be doing that. And our lawyer actually made the analogy, and he says, if you go into a dating and you pool and you find your your person right out the gate, you're not going to ask her to marry you right away.
Right. Absolutely.
It's more of a nurturing type thing, and it's
It
going to
really
take
is.
time. So you got to build that relationship with these brokers, but the broker networks have that rapport with their clientele, and they're working basically not with you, but they're actually working for you. And in essence, that's kind of what we're looking at, is pumping all into those Fran Direct and all that stuff for the broker networks. And that's the conferences and being able to get out and show them who we are, because without the brand story with Jeff and I, it's really nothing. You're just buying a flooring company. But with the other thing is, you're really buying the backing of Jeff and I.
Yeah. And I mean, this is what they do, right? So they're selling, they know this, but they have a pool of people, and it's like you said, nurturing. But again, it's going back to that factor of knowing, liking, and trusting, in a sense of, okay, I know Dan, I like him and I trust him, so I'm going to help sell his brand and get in front of the people that'll be good for him. And there's so many companies that they can represent as a broker. So it's like, you almost have to, like, I don't know what the saying was, like back in the day, like, butter them up or whatever. Like you have to give them something, you know what I mean, to make them remember you and think of you. Like I've seen many brokers like send ice cream to them or whatever. I don't know, something silly and crazy. But those are going to be the things that people remember you by, and that's going to nurture into that relationship of knowing, liking, and trusting you. And I think conferences are amazing. I mean, we've gone to some as well, but it's one of those things where they can put you face to face and they can know you again. And you can talk to them about your brand and talk to them about your story, and they can resonate better with you that way if they're a good fit for your company, right? Like you might, for every, let's say 10 people, maybe you get 3 good brokers. That's really what the numbers are about. It's the same, it's a sales process essentially, because you want them to sell for you, but they have to be positive and happy with the brand in order to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of neat. So I'm a huge book reader. I love books, and the one I'm just finished up is The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes.
I have to read
And
that.
yeah, it's fantastic. I'll tell you, if in any industry, if you're in sales or in business, it's geared around more corporate, but you can tailor it towards,
Yeah.
the consumer as well. But what's really neat is he makes a lot of analogies in there, and he would have to go out and do a lot of sales to these bigger organizations, and a lot of them would just throw him off to the side. And he's like, "Who are you?"
Right.
So what he came up with is he's going to come up with this idea, and he's going to start sending them gifts, little trinkets here and there. And one of them was like a flashlight, and he says, "I don't want to be leaving you in the dark," and
Oh,
just
yeah,
funny little sayings,
exactly.
and it just stayed him top of mind, and he would just keep sending it until basically, finally somebody would call, and he's like, "Yeah, I finally got him," because he's sending, nothing, little dollar gifts, nothing huge, but something small that they can actually have and they'll have on their desk. So it would bring them top of mind type thing. So,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
people really like that. So I think that's always fun. And that's what we told our new sales guy. It's like, hey, you got to schmooze these guys, but also, make sure they're staying top of mind. Follow up with them. Follow up is key with these people, and just make sure you're staying in touch with them.
Absolutely. Hey there, I want to interrupt this episode with a quick message. If you're listening to this podcast episode and want to learn about branding your franchise or small business, then go to brandingbridge.com. That's branding-bridge.com. What kind of characteristics or traits / ideas do you look for, like in brokers specifically?
Yeah, so we really want them to vibe with us. Just like your normal business, you want to make a culture that fits you. Somebody that you can build that rapport with, that you get along with, that you can talk. And it's not all about the sales of people. We don't want you bringing us a bunch of different people that, yes, they can buy it, but are they a good fit in our system? Right. We want them to understand us. And again, it goes back to the know, like, and trust. We really want them to trust us as much as we want to trust them to bring us the right people type thing. We're really looking for people that really fit in with our culture, that have the same mindset, like-minded people, not looking to make an extra dollar. They really care about these people. That's the whole reason we started this franchise, is because we don't want these other people, getting hosed out there. We really want them to join an organization where they can make a good life for themselves and their families and to grow. So that, we really care. We built our organization, and we always said it, we'd rather take 50 qualified people that are going to be with us forever versus 1,000 just to make more extra money in our organization that just may or may not fit in. So we really want the quality, and that's what we look for in a broker, is a quality.
That's so interesting. I've spoken before with Zors, and some of them are like, yeah, we just took the first 3 and now they either quit, we don't like them, we have to babysit them, but we just took them because we needed to take them. So like the fact that you're saying like qualify, like I feel like that's so much more important. And it's the same way with business, right? Like franchisees, you're going to be close with, they're part of the team, and you need to be able to like them as well, and vice versa. So it's like that connection needs to be there for those people, and they have to love the products, love the service, love the brand, all of that in order to kind of be successful. I think it's wise to put your money and time and energy into making sure that they're qualified and they're going to be good, rather than just taking on somebody because it's not cheap. Either way you look at it, and then and maybe a year from now they're closed down and they're like, I'm done with you. And then you're like, great, now what? Right? And it's like, of course there's contracts, but do you want to have a broken thing on your FDD.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Do you really want that big old goose egg, that 0 on there? And how many opened up this year? You see 5, and how many closed? You see 4. And
Yeah. And
people look at that things. I mean, they're out there and you can find it. It's all public information. So we always said that we're a slow growth company. We want the quality people in here, and we want the people that are like us. And like our Nashville guy, he's phenomenal. I'm on the phone with him probably daily. It's just neat. He's just a fun guy, and he'll just call hey, just checking in, seeing how you guys are doing. It's like they're calling us, So it's neat. You really just want your friends in there, like people that want to be your friends, and business partners, and really strive to see where the goal in this whole entire thing is going and stuff like that. So
that's awesome. So I have 2 more questions. What do your franchise look for the most in as far as like support? Like, what is the number one thing that they want?
I think that what they're looking for as far as support is making sure that when they're on a job, that they have somebody they can call, that it's not like when the bigger organizations, to put in perspective, like you have to call like a corporate number and you get a secretary, and she's well, hold on, I have to go call the tech guy. I got to call the chemist and all this stuff.
Sure.
With our guys, when they call, they want to make sure they're calling Jeff and I, because we do the floors, we know the situations. They're going to get hemmed up on situations. Mm-hmm. And that's their biggest worry is who do I call and how do I get out of this struggle? For us, they call us directly. If they can't call Jeff, they get his voicemail, they call me and they're getting me, and vice versa. So they always know that there's always one or the other on that phone that can answer any question throughout the organization. So, which is neat because, we're not only that, but we're also like the business side of things. Like, hey, I'm getting ready to go in my first estimate. I'm really scared. What do I do again? It's that support, and it's, okay, let's go back to our training, and it's continuous training. Yeah, we're staying top of mind with them, but it's always, I think it's just that initial, do I have that phone call to that first person, and will they answer right away when I need them the most right in that situation?
That's amazing, though. I feel like that's like a personal touch and what makes you guys unique for sure, because some Zors might not be as attentive. I mean, obviously everybody's busy, but like they might not even offer that. You know what I mean? Like they might just say, okay, you've done your training, go off on your own. So it's really something that you guys should highlight for sure, and push out that you give them that support, because that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So 2024, I made a goal to myself that every Tuesday I will write not only my team, but everybody in our organization an email. And it's more, to me, it's more of an inspirational email, because a lot of times we have a mindset that, and we're all human. We have negative mindsets. We wake up negatively almost every day. Whenever we talk about stuff, it's always negative.
Yep.
The news feeds on negativity. So I'm trying to turn that
negative, everything.
Yeah. It's like, well, how's your day? Oh man. And everybody likes to talk about negative things. And I'm trying to focus this year to turn everybody's mindset. That's my goal, is turn it around and really focus. So I write them an email every Tuesday and I send it out. I wake up super early. I love the early mornings. I can read, drink coffee, and get focused. And I write this email, and it's called the Tuesday Wake Up. Okay. And I say, good Tuesday morning, team. And then I write along, just an inspirational, hopefully it's inspirational speech. And then sometimes I include links, and sometimes I include podcasts to listen to, like this is an inspiration. So amazing. That's kind of something I focused in on this year is for that. And our Nashville guy, he loves it. He calls me. He's like, Dan, I listened to that podcast. It's amazing. He's like, keep doing it. It's inspiring me. I had a bad day today. And we just don't know. Like some people can go and you just don't know if they have a good day or a bad day. But my hope is this will uplift them if they are. And if not, it just gives them inspiration to keep moving forward. Because 2024, and I think this next year is going to be hard. We're all seeing it. It's a slowdown in almost every home service industry. But if you stay positive and you have a positive mindset, I think positive things will come out of that.
Absolutely. No, I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So my last question is, what's your best advice for somebody who's looking to get into the franchise industry?
Yeah. So, I mean, do your due diligence for sure. It took our Nashville guy almost a year to sign up with us. For him, when he says it, he says, I did my due diligence, and he says, I made the right choice. Don't jump into it there's so many organizations out there and a lot of people, and there's a lot of things that can grab you. And it's like, oh, I can make a lot of money. And it's like, you really got to focus and do your due diligence on the organization. Really dive deep into the structures of everything, what they have for you, the support. I think support's key. I mean, that's basically why you're buying a franchise. You can start your own companies, but it's that support. Like, okay, I'm stuck. Where do I go from here? So really focus in on that and really look and see and make sure that these people actually care about you, and do what I did, call the people in the organization that are franchisees.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's big,
It's a huge,
like, hey, what do you like? What do you dislike? If they don't tell you they dislike something, they're probably lying to you, because everybody dislikes something. Just to be truthful, just find those right people and right organizations and do your due diligence for sure.
And I think to piggyback off of that slightly is to say there's so much rush in the society right now. Like, we have to get it done. We have to do it now. We have to make a decision. And I think that's when we have to pause, because we don't want to make bad decisions. I've made plenty of bad decisions, especially in business. We need to pause and not understand that nothing is that urgent to make a decision. Take your time, do your due diligence. And that's, like I said, I've gone through bad partnerships, etc. And now I'm a business person where I'm like, okay, I need to just ponder on this for like 3 days and then fulfill, like, what are my questions? What are my objections? Like, all of those things. And I think that's really and truthfully a big thing that we need to talk about more. It's just don't rush to the process. Like you said, just do your due diligence. If you need a job quick, this isn't for you.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's awesome. That's perfect. Yeah, that's definitely inspirational for everybody. I hope they hear that for sure.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, it was great to have you on. If anybody wants to connect with you, what's the best way?
Yeah, you can go on to Facebook and look me up. You can send me a message thing in there, the Garage Floor Company Indy.
Okay.
You can go onto our website, thegaragefloorco.com. We have phone numbers on there. You can give us a call and get in touch that way.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Susie. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in on today's Brand Clarity episode with Susie Liberatore. 2 things. First and foremost, please, if you liked this episode, please subscribe and leave some positive reviews. Also, don't forget to sign up for Stop Sending Your Customers to the Competition and get my insider secrets to compelling branding that converts. You can find that at branding-bridge.com. It's a free workbook for you to check out right now, all of the branding techniques and strategies that I use for my paying clients.